Hello everybody, you're listening to Alfred's Hong Kong News Updates. Alfred's Hong Kong News Updates is brought to you by Alfred and Friends. Alfred and Friends is a global conglomerate that owns and invests in a number of companies all around the world. To find out how you can invest in Alfred and Friends, go to alfredandfriends.com. The update I would like to give you today is on China successfully landing a spacecraft on the moon, specifically the portion of the moon that is referred to as the dark side of the moon. It's not really dark, but it's called that because it's the area that doesn't face the Earth, you see, and it has not had any spacecraft land on that part of the moon before. So China is the first country to land a spacecraft on the dark side of the moon, and that was on Thursday, I believe the 3rd of January 2019. So it's an interesting thing for China. China is quickly growing and becoming a very powerful country. Prior to this, the only nations that have landed on the moon was former Soviet Union, which was under the Nazis and Hitler, I believe, and also the United States. Now that China is becoming this powerful and is able to independently explore space on this level, this is a new interesting development, and also it brings forth different possibilities. They will be sending another spacecraft to the moon that will also bring back samples of perhaps rocks or whatever they find on the moon back to Earth, and that will be perhaps if they succeed, they will be the second person to succeed in such a thing since the former Soviet Union. This also brings forward a lot of investment opportunities, and you must understand that in the way the world works now, whatever samples they bring back, naturally it will be owned by the Chinese government and there will be a lot of research done on it, but the value of those samples will be worth a lot of money. You know, meteors that fell from outer space to the Earth, and I mean little particles of meteors, are actually sold for millions or hundreds of thousands currently, just the rock samples. So a sample from outer space, a sample of rock or matter from the moon, is going to be financially valuable. It has a strong financial value to it, and it obviously will attract the interest of investors. There's the question of how to invest in such a thing and if it is even possible, because it's going to be owned by the Chinese government, and that is if that particular mission is successful. You see, because based on the information I have received so far, I do not think that the current spacecraft that has been sent to the moon will be able to return or retrieve. So it's actually a completely different mission where they would send a different spacecraft to the moon with the express purpose of bringing back lunar samples. And just for the record, based on the information that has been given, I believe the whole craft was automated. There is no report of any human being on the craft, and I believe that the spacecraft that they will send in the future, perhaps next year or perhaps later this year, to bring back samples of matter from the moon, I also believe that that spacecraft will not be manned. In other words, there will be no human being in it. It's all going to be automated and done by robots. You see, so that way they are not risking any human being's life. But naturally, such a mission costs a lot of money, but it's the government that is spending this money, and it is on the taxpayers' heads. So that is an interesting thing to know about how China is really becoming a very great nation, and is actually seems like it will soon overtake the United States if things continue on this kind of road, especially with the issues that America has and the fight against President Trump. You can see the fight against unity and moving forward, the war against common sense in America. If America continues this way, China will become the number one world power in the world. You see, for the first time also, China has started investing in Africa, investing in other nations and having a great stake and a big brother like over other nations is something that America has always done, and that is why they can interfere with wars, they can interfere with foreign policies, and they actually use their political ways and their organizations that they have control over, like NATO, the UN, and other such organizations, to actually determine the direction and the course that the world travels. You see, it will be interesting to see China in that space. I don't know if the world is ready, and I wonder what China's plan will be for the world if China is in such a position and has that kind of power. You know, remember that China is a communist nation, not a capitalist nation, and China is very different from America in a great many ways. So it will be interesting to see China in such a place of position and power. But you see, I would say the best case scenario and what we should be looking at is for Christians to be in such positions of power. So what we would rather do is to do all we can to make sure that such positions of power and authority are filled by Christians. We are not looking at things from a perspective of let this nation rule or let this nation be in that position. It should be Christians that should be in that position. We as Christians are a nation by ourselves. You know, our own nation, it is written in the scriptures that we are a holy nation. You see, so Christianity is referred to as a nation. We are a nation, and our nation is going to outlast every other nation on earth. You see, the nation that is Christianity, the nation that is made up of Christians, as in Christians as a whole, we are going to outlast the existence of America, the existence of China, the existence of Europe and every continent or nation or city or village in this world. Because you see, heaven and earth will pass away, but Christians will be forever and we will reign with Christ. So we are actually the most important nation, and we are the nation that you should be thinking of. Don't be thinking of your earthly nation like, you are an American, or you are Chinese, or you are Russian, or you are Nigerian. Stop thinking about that nation. Think about the nation that is eternal, the nation that really matters, and that is the Christian nation. So such positions of power should be filled up by Christians. That is what should be in your mind, and that is what we should plan towards. For more information on how we can take this to our advantage and move forward from here as the Christian nation, go to alfredandfriends.com, and get in touch with us, connect with us. Let us get in touch with you, you see, and together we'll walk forward and move forward. So that's the update for now. Thank you and God bless you.